It's a new day, a new topic. Welcome back. One who have been not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do like and subscribe. I'm trying to create a content which might help and make you understand a more practical approach related to the concepts of AWS. Today we are going to touch the concept of AWS Elastic Beanstalk. The Elastic Beanstalk, to- it's a service again comes from AWS. And right, when we talk about computing in cloud, we need a bunch of things like EC2 instance, then we need a database, we need storage. So when we talk about Elastic Beanstalk as a service from AWS, we are here referring to different services which are appended at the back. So it also serves as a different purpose. It's not only creating your EC2 instance, but we can say it as it's a distributed functions, like it performs elastic load balancing, that it can distribute your incoming traffic across multiple target. It can have EC2 instances or containers for higher availability. Formally, it is known as Elasticsearch Service. It's a managed search service, and there are more services just like Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk is considered as a platform as a service for deploying web application without managing infrastructure. So we are talking Elastic Beanstalk in detail, and this lab is basically to demonstrate how an Elastic Beanstalk, a platform as a service, is as a developer. I mean, you being in an organization, you are a software developer. You did not focus. You did not spend your time on deploying your cloud servers or take care of NAT gateways or to make sure that the IAM rules are being assigned properly. What you have to do is basically just focus on your programming language. May that be, I mean, this AWS Elastic Beanstalk supports different programming languages all the way from Java, Python, Node.js, PHP, Ruby, .NET, and Go. It is a simplified deployment and management service. So if you have any application using simple zip or WAR file, you or any kind of IDE, or you using Git, you can do CI/CD and you can push the code onto the AWS cloud platform where in its backend it integrates with different AWS services, uses EC2 for compute, RDS for database, S3 for storage, and CloudWatch for monitoring. It can also do auto scaling and load balancing depending upon your traffic. You can customize and control EC2 instances with custom AMI, where you can try to orchestrate with different protocols, services basically. So the famous what we have is the Elastic Kubernetes services. And let's try to do and demonstrate the AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So this lab is articulated in such a manner that you will try to deploy a code and you will try to explore the AWS resource that supports your application, and then we will try to summarize this with the summarization report. So it's a sample application given here. It's now in a .zip file, but you can have, let's say for example, Django. You created a project in Django, you put it on GitHub, and you're trying to push the GitHub code to using Elastic Beanstalk to AWS. So, but in this part, we will try to deploy a sample application to Elastic Beanstalk and we'll follow this guide. So to access Elastic Beanstalk in the service segment, you have to search for Elastic Beanstalk. There you go, run and manage web application. It's a page with title environment should open. A page title environment is shown here. As you can see, there are a few ongoing applications and it has multiple attributes like platform, Tomcat, domain, tells you about the domain, runtime, web server is named as tier name as web server. It was created somewhere back 5th of March. I mean, when I just booted my lab. For this, we will try to create an environment, and when we try to create an environment, we have the following guides here: configure environment, configure service access, set up networking, database and tag, configure instance traffic and scaling, configure update, monitoring and log, and also review at the last whatever you are trying to configure for Elastic Beanstalk as an environment. So for now, application name, as per the guide, choose the name of the environment. So for that, if they have given an hard-coded value, we will try to use that. The page title environment should open, should tell the name. Under the environment name column, choose the name of the environment, the desktop page for your Elastic Beanstalk environment opens. So application information, I doubt they have given any specific hard-coded values, but since this is a form, I mean these instructions do follow a particular format. So okay, should open should a table that lists the details for an existing Elastic Beanstalk application to under the okay under the environment name column choose a new. Okay, for now maybe let me quickly check if this report says that I have to use the existing environment, but as I told you, you can go with the guide. I try to show you create environment attributes. So it says application name. uh, you can have your application name and you can tag it to some optional tags. Then you have an environment name. Now this in total creates an environment, so you have to provide an environment name such that the Elastic Beanstalk application can be called later. So it says choose the name, subdomain and description of your environment. So this cannot be changed later. So just to make a point, environment name should be one which is fixed, and then your domain, you can check for its availability. And then the platform, it is that a managed platform or a custom platform. If you choose custom platform, you can have a Python, Ruby, whatever type of code. So this goes as a platform as a service, but now you're trying to do a hard coded managed platform. So there would be a sample application also, or you can upload a code right away, which will the later half will see that. These are the presets. Starts from a preset that matches your use case, or choose custom configuration to unset recommended value and use the service default value. So may that be a single instance, VT2 micro instance or whatever. We'll create some database, availability zone, single availability zone, and then some modifications, whether your application need internet access, public IP assignment, single instances, high availabilities, and few rest of the things. So for now, as we know that we have as a lab provider, we already have been provided with one of the environment name. So we'll click on it. So we get to see notice it shows related to all the details related to this environment. So when I click on help, so it has created two instances. Uh, Deployment ID has been provided as well. Application name which we checked is for the availability, and this can be changed, but the environment name cannot be changed. Uh, this is the domain which we checked for availability, as it is on a platform of Tomcat 9, which it supports. You can change the version. You can see logs, event, monitoring. So has been from pending to OK initialized before 8 seconds when I just try to initialize this lab. You can also have any critical alarms. You can have tags which you have mentioned at the start, like Cloud Lab, Elastic Beanstalk Environment ID, and with that value. To do with the lab, notice that the page shows the health is okay. Test access to your environment. Near to the top of the page, choose the domain link. The URL ends in, so this is your domain link. And try to click it on a new tab because we do not have any code in there, so it will say HTTP status 404 error that is not found. This behavior is expected because this application server does not have an application running on it. So return to Elastic Beanstalk console. In the next step, you will deploy a code in your Elastic Beanstalk environment. To deploy it, so they are asking us to download this sample application by clicking on this link. I get a tomcat.zip. So choose the file. So back to your Elastic Beanstalk dashboard. So just gives you an information about the service which you're using. So just this is your dashboard. Just try to click here, click on action, and then you get to see what you can do with your Elastic Beanstalk environment. So now we want to upload and deploy. So for this, let's see, let me go in here. So you see on this environment, I have an option of upload and deploy. So choose an application which you want to. Let's say I have and my team created a couple of application, and then it was zipped filed as tomcat.zip. This has versioning control also. So this is my version label. Now since it was current number of EC2 instances, we have two because I show you a bit earlier that we had two instances deployed. So after the deployment is completed, this will take 2 or 3 minutes for the Elastic Beanstalk to update the environment and deploy the application. So we saw that the domain did say that it returned with a 404 error. So now, once this application is deployed, we have an application where it's just a web application, and let's wait for the Elastic Beanstalk to say that the environment is in healthy state now. We don't see any request hitting because we have better. Let's go into logs and monitoring of done about service metrics and critical alarms. I'll wait for this to go through very quickly. This is completed. Instance deployment completed successfully. So you can also cancel this operation from the action and it will abort current operation. Since it's green now, so let's try to again see the domain. It should say congratulations, your first AWS Elastic Beanstalk application is now running on its own dedicated environment in an AWS cloud. Great. So you have your application now running in AWS cloud. Now, since it is a successful message for us, now what we'll do is we'll try to see the configuration for this environment. Uh, let's say we want to see the instance traffic and scale it. So minimum instances are 2, maximum instances are 6. It can do load balancing, it can do fleet composition on demand base, instance 0 on demand above is 70, scaling cool down as 360, and then we have processor type, AMI here mentioned. So these are the details which I told you about the Elastic Beanstalk. So if let's quickly check in the networking and the database section. Here we go. So networking and database, it says no configuration yet have been assigned to this environment. To set up an Amazon RDS database that's initiated with your environment. So we need to set up a few things here. So in the networking database and diagram, choose add it, and then ask you about VPC, instance setting, database, and division. Just moving back. So this says about no configurations because the environment does not include a database. In the networking, let's say if you have a database, note that you could easily enable a database to this environment if you want to, because since this is a very simple website, so you can have all your database been managed there. Note that you can easily enable a database in the environment if you want to. You only need to set a few basic configuration and choose apply. However, for the purpose of this lab, we don't need database, right? It's just a kind of static website. Now exploring the resources that supports your application. So let's quickly see EC2 instances which were deployed. We should see two numbers of EC2 instances which are deployed here. So in the running stage, we should see two. Auto scaling group, as I told you, it is having a load balancing attribute also. Auto scaling group, let's take a look at auto scaling. And then we have security group. I mean, for the previous lab also we might have one. So you see it's a launch template, desired capacity 2, T3 micro with network. This availabilities have been added. Then for the auto scaling, automatic scaling, it is using the default policy. Take action, remove one capacity unit, add one capacity unit, and then wait 360 before allowing other scaling action. Network consequences period, you see, and then it is appending to this group. You can see all of those here in the details. With that said, now we are moving back to the okay. So since this website, we just uploaded a code, right? For website, we need port 80 from anywhere IP address. So for that, security group is added to the NIC cards. So if we check about that, we have two security groups. Let me see which one is added to that. So we know these are the instances. Go there, and then from there you can find security tab. Under security group, it is also added an IAM role. So if you see, this security group has inbound rule, so should be mentioned here. Let me drag it so you can get to see. So this is your source. So anything coming inwards, outwards, all traffic is allowed. So this is attribute one permission enter. And then we checked about security group. Uh, so there it is, and also about load balancing. If you go to load balancers, so there we have one which is configured, which should be load balancing between two instances across an availability zones. So this all stands within this VPC, and the listener is port 8080. So if you want, you can also do a test. Is it doing load balancing properly by just checking monitoring to if it's enabled. Yeah, it is enabled. So you have unhealthy host. For now, there is nothing, but you can shut down one of the instances and see if it is unhealthy or not. With that said, we are done with this lab. See you soon with another topic of your interest. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel.